Hey guys, how you doing? Chris Rod. I'm back in the lawn. This is kind of an update video, if you will. We're simply talking about July summer lawn care. We're here in West Texas, in the westernmost city. We're here in El Paso, where we've got 105, 110 degree temperatures. It's hot. And then moreover, it's dry. Now, we do got a bit of humidity with this increased heat, so that kind of helps, but I tell you what, out here every day, you're getting a little soggy. It's soggy, you're staying moist, constantly sweating. We're not used to that sort of thing here in West Texas, but I know a lot of you guys are that are maintaining Bermuda grass over in East Texas or over on the Carolinas or Georgia, wherever you guys are, Arizona, wherever. It's hot, right? Everybody's experiencing this freaking heat wave, right? So we're talking about maintaining Bermuda grass in the summertime. There's a few things you want to avoid not doing. You can't afford to not do these steps, guys. And that is simply, I can think of three primary ones. Number one is you have to still get out there and mow, okay? If you got northern grass types, you don't mow. You can continue, but a lot of you, if you're not irrigated with northern grass types like tall fescue, if you're in different parts of the US and you're not irrigated, you probably want to back off the mowing, stay off that turf, right? But here in the south, when we're growing Bermuda grass, as you can see, we got a lot of clippings from the shot earlier over yonder, a lot of grass clippings, okay? I did not mow like I normally mow this past week. I just couldn't get to it. Business is booming, and I just didn't get to my routine 3 mows a week. So what we have is a lot of excessive grass clippings, right? So I don't bag my clippings. So the point of what I'm trying to say is make sure you keep mowing, get out there and mow as often as you can. You do not want your turf to get excessively tall, okay? If you like a taller grass type, that's fine, maybe, okay? Can't afford to not mow. Number two, you can't afford to not water, okay? You gotta keep watering your lawn. As you guys can see, it has transitioned. We have a nice, dark green, lush, thick, healthy lawn. And we only water 3 times a week, guys. We water in the mornings only, and this is for a lot of our followers locally that always ask, when should I water? It's always in the mornings, guys. Always, always, always. When you start pushing water in the evenings, when you got increased heat and humidity, and back into July here in El Paso, we start getting into our monsoon season, okay? If you water in the evenings, you're gonna be more susceptible and prone to disease and fungus issues. So water in the morning, okay? This zone right here gets about 26 minutes. It'll do each cycle, each zone, it'll do 13 minutes here, it'll go another cycle around, and it'll do the remainder 13 minutes, okay? What we're trying to do is allow that water to penetrate through the soil so that we can come back, allow it to saturate, and then do the remaining time frame, okay? So we continue to water. You can't afford to not water your lawns. And the third thing, you still should continue to feed your lawns, guys. If you go without fertilizer, you may get less growth, okay? If you do apply fertilizer, because we're continuously adding that fertility to the plant, right? Or if you choose not to fertilize, as you guys know, we've only done 2 applications of fertilizer this whole year in this particular yard, okay? The reason why, again, we had a soil test come back and we were sufficient in all our macros and all our micronutrients, so we're doing very minimal feeding. But wait, Chris, weren't you just pushing your push spreader in the lawn? That's right, guys, I was. I wasn't fertilizing with the synthetic or an organic fertilizer. I was simply putting down biochar, or humichar if you will. Contains humic acid and biochar. So what I'm talking about is you can't afford to not continue to feed your lawn something, whether it be a fertilizer with a equal balance maybe, or you don't need phosphorus and you're doing a 20-06, or you're doing a pure ammonium sulfate and you're doing a 21-00. Whatever you guys are putting down is great. Keep at it, okay? Every 4 to 6 weeks, continuously feed your lawn. But that human char that I applied, what I'm feeding is not necessarily the plant. What I'm focused on feeding are the microorganisms inside the soil, okay? So we give it the carbon. We're pumping the lawn full of carbon, the soil full of carbon, I should say, to feed those microorganisms, so that when they do their business and they turn that carbon into a food source for the plant, it's making the already readily available nutrients in the soil allowed to be uptaken by the actual grass plant. So it's still thriving, as you guys can see. So those are my 3 top tips, things that you cannot afford to not do inside of July or summer lawn care. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's July. You know, you're not pumping full amounts of, you know, pounds of nitrogen. You're not watering in the evening. One additional aspect that you can start doing, depending on your area, especially here in West Texas, back into July, we start experiencing our rainy season, so you can start protecting your lawn with fungicide applications, guys. Now let's talk about a couple trouble spots I want to show you and point out, because when you guys are doing these next few steps, okay, like the mowing, for example, one tip that I can give you in the summertime that you can do, which is acceptable if you can't get to mowing it every week, jack up your mower height. Raise it a notch like I did here today. We brought the same height cut over here as we do normally over there in that little smaller patch, what I'll show you. And what this allows you to do is to not scalp your lawn in the summer. You do not want to scalp your lawn in the summertime, okay? If you're okay with looking at some brown marks, that's fine, but I don't recommend you scalp your lawn in the summertime. It will stress out the turf. So let's point out a couple examples here. What you guys see, the little brown circles, those are from our little pet Oreo here. These are simply dog pee spots, but I tell you what, all we do in the summertime or any time that we have dog pee spots is we saturate the area with some water, and you're gonna get some new growth in the center there. And Bermuda is so great, it likes to spread laterally, and it's already filling in this area here. So let's get back to that scalping. Scalping of the lawn you don't want to do. So last week I was showing one of my daughters how to mow the lawn, and I was giving her an example of, you got to know the lay of the land, right? So this particular area, this little corner here, is really high, and if you mow it the wrong way, the mower dips down onto the concrete and it creates that mark right there and it scalps it down. So you got to know your grass, right? That way you can avoid some scalp marks. I know my grass. I'm going to show you an area we just mowed today, which again, key aspect when you're mowing in the summertime, to avoid those scalp marks, you do or you may need to raise your mower. As you guys can see over here, see the scalp marks right there? And back over there, it's just like the perfect cut from the mower just coming off the edge there, okay guys? So you simply raise the deck and that's it. And as you'll discover, same thing here, scalp mark there. And the reason why, as it drops off, we get a low spot here. So what does that really tell you about summertime lawn care in July? Raise your mower a little bit if you're gonna keep that grass height at a certain height during the summertime. And then, you know, back end of your summer, you can drop your cut height back down. Now, to avoid these marks, or if you start getting these scalp marks, don't worry about it, okay? It will green back up. 1 week to the next, this will all be nice and dark green again. It lets me know that we have a leveling issue and I may need to raise my mower one more time, or we mow more frequently. I get back to my 3 days a week in the summertime. And over here, as you guys have been following along, we've removed all that grass, and I removed about a ton. It had to been about 1 yard or 1 ton of soil and we put the sod back, or we put the grass back, okay? But what it did is it lowered the soil line beneath the actual hard surfaces here. So when I drop down my mower, it actually lowers into the grass, right? So we have a leveling issue here as well. So all I gotta do is bring in some dirt, screen compost, or sand, and raise that soil line just a hair to avoid those scalp marks. Guys, that's it. That's all I got for you. This is July lawn care. I know we're a week into July now. Don't be afraid to get out there in this heat and mow as often as you can to avoid some trouble issues. And don't forget the 3 tips I gave you on what not to avoid. You can't afford to not mow, you can't afford to not water, okay? And you definitely got to continue to feed your lawn, whether it be a fertilizer of some sort. I would probably stick with organics. Don't go high on the NPK or the nitrogen input. Cut your application rates in half, or get down some human char, okay? Or biochar by itself. It really helps with water retention and make that food source readily available for the grass to continue to take up all the nutrients you guys have already been applying. That's an update on my lawn, my backyard, guys. Other than that, y'all stay tuned. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that bell notification so when we come up with an updated video, you guys are the first to be notified about it.